So hello, welcome to Dommy Tries This. I hope you brought your cuppa. Today's coffee mug was a gift from my husband for Valentine's Day a few years back. It's one of those coffee mugs that you can get at your grocery store, Walmart, Kroger, wherever, that had candies in it and a little stuffed animal and a ribbon and a little card and all that stuff attached to it. I'm not sure where the stuffed animal is. I'm not sure what the stuffed animal was, but I'm sure I still have it somewhere. I have a ton of stuffed animals. Not as much as my tea mugs, but I have a ton of stuffed animals, so I'm sure I have it somewhere. Just don't remember what it was. I tend to keep all those things, though. Well, I probably ate the candy within a day or two because that's just how I am. Today's tea is a mix of my stash chocolate hazelnut and the Ahmad tea's mixed berries and hibiscus. I wanted to do a chocolate and fruit mixture. I thought I had a raspberry tea in my tea stash, and I don't. And so this was the closest, this mixed berries and hibiscus was the closest I could get to a fruit berry tea. I didn't want to use my usual stash chocolate orange. I wanted to do something a little different. So yeah, this was the closest I could get without worrying about the tea overwhelming the chocolate. Because like if I use the David's tea, the Beat It tea, which is very fruity, it probably would have completely overwhelmed the chocolate. So let's give this a taste and see how these two mixed. I'm not sure. I'm getting more of the berry than of the chocolate at this point. I don't think they mixed well. I'm going to let them sit and steep and see what happens by the end of the video. I have mentioned before, I think, or it's in a video coming up, that the Ahmad teas are very similar to the stash tea in that I have found that for a lot of them, particularly the more mild flavored teas, that I do need to use 2 packets to get a full flavor, but I still think they're a little bit stronger than the stash tea at this point. They're not bad, but I think the Ahmad is kind of overwhelming the chocolate at this point. So we'll have to wait and see if that actually works out. So today we're supposed to do our Whole and Healthy Wednesday, and we will get to that in a minute. Today's Whole and Healthy Wednesday will be kind of an update on how I progressed over January. There's quite a few notes. I'm not going to get too much into sciencey things or talking about, the food and all of that stuff. We're just going to talk about mostly what I did and how I progressed through the month. As far as I'm concerned, any progress is progress. So there has been some progress in some things and not so much progress in others, but that's how it goes. But before we get into that, a couple of things. First of all, I am playing with new lighting, and you guys will have to let me know how it looks. If I need to do it a little brighter, if it needs to. Basically, I added another light and we adjusted some of the lights that I already have in here. So let me know what you think about the lighting and if there's any more fixing that needs to be done. I'm really hoping that I've got it this time. We keep playing around with this stuff every few months or so, so hopefully this time it's good. The second thing is I have been having problems with my eyes since Friday. Yeah, today's Monday, so since Friday. Friday I did a filming. I had some issues with a product that I tried to use. It aggravated my eyes, and I've been having issues ever since. But on top of that, my allergies are acting up. And so I'll be sniffling quite a bit probably, but my eyes are watering. I'm already losing some of my base. So it's going to be interesting to see if this even works. These earrings. This is why I don't wear these earrings this much. They're like, we're going to go off and do our own thing. All right, there we go. While we're not getting into all the sciencey stuff of the of weight loss and health and all of that stuff, I did add some links to my description box of my previous Whole and Healthy Wednesday. Um, some people questioned whether or not I had the research correct. So I posted a couple links on the research of BMI and weight loss and how we determine healthy weight and all of that stuff. And one of them is actually a very recent interview with a researcher who has been studying obesity for the last 25 years. So, interesting links. I've also included some Facebook groups and Facebook places that I follow that tend to focus a little bit more on weight and health and all of that stuff. I think I included James Fell in there. He's really irreverent, so if you're not into irreverence, you may want to skip him. But the other ones in there would probably be helpful if you're looking for more information on stuff like that. Read the articles. Anyway, they'll all be there, and they're there for you to take a look at if you're interested. So let's get into our old and new. I didn't pull out anything that's really old for my eyeshadows this time. We're going to be doing mixes on other things, but I am using the 1 month palette today, the Lorac Shine Bright. This is not really old. I do believe this came from my birthday bash. I'll have to take a look. I can't remember. I've gotten so much stuff recently that some of it is just like, where did it come from? But that makes this kind of relatively new. It's from October. And I'm going to use the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea. I do pretty much have an opinion on this and how I would continue to use it and all that stuff, but this is new. In fact, most of my stuff today is new. The one old thing I'm going to do is, let me pull this down. So I got the Sephora 10-hour long wear Perfection foundation. I tested this in my live on Sunday, and so yesterday, and this is a little bit on the yellow to orange side for me right now. In the winter, I get so much lighter, and I tend more neutral in my undertone. It's still a bit more on the warm side, but it's not a huge warmth. Unlike in the summer when I'm all tanned up and my golden part comes out. So this is a little too on the golden side for me. So it's new, but I'm going to try mixing it with my CoverGirl TruBlend, which tends more towards the neutral, and see if these two together will give me both a finish I like and a color I like, and see what happens with that. And the only reason I'm doing that is, one, the actual color of this is actually not that far off. I'm not sure if I went to take it back in, they would even have a color that would match me better. Although if I decide to repurchase it, I probably would go in and get color matched for my winter skin. But there's that, and then on top of that, the cost and the time of having to go in and get it exchanged is a bit high for me as far as I'm concerned. So, I mean, the nearest mall is still like 10 miles away. So I don't want to be doing that. So we're going to try and see if we can get this to work with the CoverGirl TruBlend. I do know I like the finish by itself. I do know it works with my Vichy. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, with the old, we've got my usual concealer and stuff like that on my eyes. And we're going to move on and go ahead and get started. Oh, I'm telling you guys, the whole eyes thing. Good news is I'm going to see a doctor, and hopefully we can start getting some of my issues under control. And the issues I'm talking about are not necessarily weight related, although we're going to finally get back on our blood pressure medication, so that's a good thing. Anyway, so I'm going to start with this guy. I kind of have an idea of what I want to do, and I'm going to work with I'm going to go with this color Escape right here. Looks a lot more, well, wait a minute. Let's do Heat Wave. I mean, the two colors aren't that different. I'm trying not to blind you. This one's just a bit deeper. I'm afraid the Escape is more on the silvery side for what I want to do today. So, let's get started on our updates and stuff. I have some notes I have written down as well. Putting this under the brow where it's not going to show up well. This has been part of my problem with this palette. Anyway, yeah, oh wow. And I'm not going to completely blame the palette today. Not completely. Okay, I'm going to have to do something a little different. We're going to finish this off and do the other side. And then I'm going to try something a little different. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I am going to take... These things come with their own. So here's our palette. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to take... this color Ecru. I'm going to put that under the brow, and then I'm going to try again with the Tarte and put it over the Ecru and see if that helps. Okay, so updates. Well, everything but one measurement went up last month. I am not quite sure. Well, let me put it this way. I'm sure it's a mix of things. I'm not sure how fast it takes for muscle to build. So I'm not sure how much of that weight increase and all of that is from muscle. If the other measurements, since the other measurements went up, I'm going to say the fat didn't go down, even if the muscle went up. I'm not sure how much of that was when you work out, when you're lifting weights, you add little tears in your muscle. And those little tears heal and they make your muscle stronger. But when you have those little tears, they hold more water. So I'm not sure how much of that was water. I did try to do the measurements. After a rest day, because I know on the day after I work out that I'm probably really holding water. So I did try to do the measurements after a rest day. So I don't know how much of it was still there. And we're going to go back into that Heat Wave and try again. See if we can get this to do what I want it to do. Although this is starting to seal up a little bit. As for the weight, again, I don't know how much of that was actual weight gain. Water weight, I'm sure some of it was weight gain, because I think I've mentioned before that this month has some of my favorite sweets out, and I have been eating some sweets. So, yeah, there's been some of that going on, and that's fine. I'm not angry at it. I would rather be enjoying myself and enjoying what I'm eating than to be getting pissed off at myself for actually eating it. So, just enjoying the food that I like, but I have gone overboard a few times. It's one thing I need to work on is control. I think we got it on there now. All right, so that's the primary reason I wanted to use this, is under my brow, so we're putting that down. I'm going to try to simplify this eye look just a little bit, just because of what's been going on. So the next color I'm going to use is the Gold Rush, and I'm going to put that completely across my lid. So anyway, yeah, there were gains. I'm upset, but I'm not overly upset. You know, these things are going to take time, and I know they're going to take time. And I do know that some of it was probably food. Some of it was maybe muscle. We don't know. So, plus there's been this sick shit going on. Who God knows. But the things, there have been other things that I have improved upon. My first week of 2019 of January was really good when it came to working out. The following week I got sick and was having trouble sleeping because I was sick, having trouble breathing because I was sick. Anyway, so I didn't work out as much. And the following 2 weeks, I really struggled to... I could get my Tuesday and Thursday workout in, but for some reason my Saturday workout was very hard to to get in. I mean, I'm not even sure what was going on Saturdays. Saturday does tend to be the day that we do the kitchen. So if I'm up late, sometimes it's harder for me to get things going like I want to. These shadows are so nice. They're soft, they're pigmented. They don't take much effort to put on. They don't take much effort to build. They're beautiful. I love them. I'm really glad I tried the Lorac. So, but that being said about the workouts, the very last few days of January, well, I should say the last week and the last few days of January into February. So this past week and the week before. About a week and a half, I guess. I am seeing more consistency starting to kick in. Like I said, I'm doing fine on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think I have hopefully I have made it easier to make it so I can do Saturdays. I've shortened the workout for Saturday. I basically had 2 different lifting routines, and they both were running quite long, and they have some difficult moves in them. And I would get to the floor work, because I do some on my stability ball and I do some on the floor, on my mat. And I would get to the floor work and I would just be too tired, so I'd end up not doing the floor work. So I revamped all 3 workouts. I took the floor work off of 2 of them and put them on a Saturday workout. And so far that seems to be helping. It's made the Saturday workout different and interesting. The other 2 are different and interesting too in different ways. One tends to focus more on my core and legs, whereas the other is more of a general over body. I do need to do a bit more for my arms, but I haven't quite figured out how to work that in. I'm trying to work some of that into the floor work right now, but I don't want my floor workout to get too long. I think if it's too long, I'd end up not doing it again because of the fact that I'm supposed to be doing the kitchen. All right, so using my usual e.l.f., I'm going to go with Primrose right here. It's a matte. I'm going to put that in my crease. So I think I'm doing really well on the weights. And I also increased my weights. So I started off in January with, I'm going to have to deepen that. I started off with 5-pound weights. I was being cautious because I didn't want to, I don't want to damage my elbows. I was off for a year. 2 years ago, I was off for a year because I had increased my weights too soon and I damaged my elbow, and my elbow needed time to heal. And then by the time it was healed, I went and I had my grandson that I was supposed to be taking care of. So yeah, anyway, long story short, I wanted to be careful because I knew I had lost some of that strength. I was up to 11 pounds, 10 to 11 pounds when the injury occurred, and I tried to push to 12 too early. And it's pretty light. I'm going to have to deepen up my crease, but that's beautiful. I love that. So I started off with 5s. I actually started off like towards the end of December with 4s, but those were pretty light for me. So I started off January with 5s, and in this last week I went up to 6s. I was noticing that while the workout that I said focusing on my core and legs was giving me some sore muscles, and I'm not saying pain, I'm saying my muscles were sore later in the day and the next day. That shows the workout is actually doing what it's supposed to be doing. So I noticed that my other stuff, my arms, my other stuff, there was nothing. I wasn't getting any kind of sense that that workout was really doing anything for me other than raising my heart rate. Now, mind you, raising your heart rate isn't a bad thing. So that's not horrible, but if you're aiming to gain strength, then, you know, you need to actually experience some soreness from your workout. Not pain. If you're in pain, you need to lighten up or stop what you're doing. Pain means you're doing damage. You're not helping. So I went ahead and went to 6s, and I'm doing fine on the 6s. The 6s seem to be doing, I'm still not feeling as much in my arms, but like I said, I don't think the workouts are covering my arms nearly as much at this point. I'm working on that. Okay, so I'm going to deepen the crease, and to do that, I'm going to take this Luxie brush, and I'm going to use this color Royalty. It's a beautiful color. One of the other things I'm working on as well, which is really important when you're lifting weights, I'm working on form, and I'm also trying to focus more on my weaker areas, which is not necessarily my arms, but I am trying to focus on some of my more weak areas. For example, my back. My ab muscles can actually, when I do my lifting with the weights, when I do my sit-ups on the ball, basically my crunches on the ball, I'm holding both weights. So I'm adding 12 pounds. So my core muscles, my ab muscles, are actually doing very good. They're not doing as good as they were before I had to stop, but they're doing very well. My back has always been an issue. I think I mentioned when we talked about where I started, I think I mentioned that I've always had issues with my back. I would have pain when I was doing dishes. I would have pain when I went grocery shopping, stuff like that. So my back has always been a problem. And so I'm focusing on my back and other weak areas that need some more strengthening. I'm going to need to blend those better. And as a result of that, I am feeling these workouts a little more in my back. It's almost like, it's almost as bad as before I even started any of this. It's not as bad, but I have noticed, like when I'm doing the dishes, that my back will flare. So this is going to be a process. I really want to have a stronger back. I think I mentioned before that I have an issue with my back that they never figured out what it was. And so yeah, it's been a problem, and I want to make my back stronger. So I've added some actual back moves. I think we need something a little bit more in there. The pinks are doing good, but they're a little light for me, I think. I'm going to take this corner brush, and I'm going to deepen my pink areas with this color Cosmic. It's a beautiful purple. So like I was saying, the back has been, it's become part of my focus. And unfortunately, that means it's in more pain, and that makes some things a little harder. I'm still doing things. I'm just trying not to. I've split up the actual moves that I was doing. They used to be, when I first started doing them, they were all together, and I went and broke them up. And yeah, so I'm feeling it. It's kind of reminding me of back when I had some issues. There, I think that did better. When I was having issues with my back previously, and I got to tell you guys, I'm being reminded about why I'm doing this in the first place to a great degree. It's not as painful, but it is reminding me about how painful it used to be just to get around, and I don't want to be there again. So that's what's going on with the weightlifting. I am still trying to get my steps in every day. I did originally have a goal of I have been, for a while there, I had a goal of 15,000 steps a day. You should try to get in a minimum of 10. I don't know. I think I'm going to need to add a little bit of color under there. So you're supposed to aim for about 10,000 steps a day. Now, if you can't do 10,000 steps a day, just know that that's what's recommended is 10,000 steps a day. And I have to admit, I haven't been consistent with my 10 to 15,000 steps a day. Some of it has to do with filming days. It's very hard for me to get my steps in because I'm sitting down and I'm filming. Now, I do sit on my stability ball at my desk when I'm editing. I do rock and things over there, but it's not quite the same. I get anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 steps, usually 2,000 to 3,500, somewhere in there when I'm doing dishes at night, depending on how many dishes there are. But I don't go anywhere, so my stability ball and rocking and making sure to use my core when I'm on my stability ball to make my heart rate go up. While I'm doing that, that's the only way I can get those steps in. So filming days, I'm not on the stability ball as much, and so I'm not getting steps those days. And even on days when I'm not filming, I'm finding I'm having a little more trouble getting things in. Okay, so I'm going into this slate blue, which I've never used before. See how dark this sucker is. I'm going to put it on the outside just to make sure. Oh, that is kind of dark. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. Just going to keep that on the outside. I think that's going to work. And then I'm going to take a little bit right up into the corner and do my little tail thing. So I went on the outside and I went up a little bit, and then I went just a little bit into the crease and went back up and then just filled in just a very tip of that. I was telling a friend the other day, I honestly don't know how I did this 6 days a week, pre-injury, pre-baby. So we're going to take my usual CoverGirl Clean Invisible in Light. Really want to find something else to use, but I'm hesitant to snag the color pop because I'm afraid I'll get the wrong color. So overall, I've actually gotten a little bit more consistent in my workouts, which is really good. I'm working on my weaker areas. I've broken things up to hopefully get that Saturday to be more consistent. And I'm honestly looking forward at getting better at the moves that I'm having the most trouble with, and hoping to get stronger. All of that's going to come with time. Not going to get all of that in 1 month, especially when you've had issues in the middle of the month that with your consistency and your other things. So I'm looking forward to making all of that work out stronger. Get better at them. I will say I do think that all of that is progress. I am actually working out again, and I am aiming for more consistency. When I actually tried to get back to things in 2018, it just seemed like things kept coming up and things kept coming up. And it was just very hard to get there, especially since I didn't start till, the latter half, and it just seemed like, there was one thing after another, and then the holidays hit, and, it was just, yeah. Yeah. But there are other places that we're already doing much better at, and I'm going to be right back. I'm going to show you guys my tools that I use really quickly. Okay, I have to crouch for you guys to see it. This is my stability ball. This is a 65 cm ball, which when it is completely full as we can make it with the air, is a little bit big for me. I probably should have gone for a 60 cm ball. However, we don't fill it up to the point where it's really, really hard. There is still some give in this ball, which I find actually makes it a little easier to do my crunches on it and things like that. But this is the primary ball that I use. This one is, it tried to run away. It tried to run away. This is from Black Mountain Products. I picked it up at Amazon, and I can't remember the cost. But since we have cats, I usually have a backup ball, and I need to get another backup ball just in case. But yes, this is the stability ball that I use. It comes in different colors. I don't recall it being too expensive. I'm 5'5". This is a 65. I probably should have done a 60. So take a look. If you're going to pick up a stability ball, I use this both for the sitting portion of my workout, but I also use it for when I'm sitting at my desk and I'm editing and I'm writing and other things. So if you're going to get a stability ball to use in any of those functions, do take a look at their height chart and what you should be using. I think this one was just a little bit big. I'm working with it. I've only had one slip on it, and it wasn't even that bad of a slip. But that's the stability ball. So there we go with that. So next I have my yoga mat. This is an extra thick yoga mat. It is a standard size, I believe. This one was also acquired at Amazon. I think this one in this color was $20. The reason I got the extra thick yoga mat was because of my back. I cannot lay on the floor. But it's extra thick. It's about the standard size, I believe. It does have this little connector. I'm planning on getting a second one. I'd like to get a second one and actually figure out a way to connect them. I do not like them being as narrow as they are. But overall, it's a good mat. So I use this for my floor. I use this for everything, actually. When I'm working on the stability ball will go on top of the mat, and then when I'm on the floor work, I'm on top of the mat without the stability ball. This has been very comfortable. My cats have gotten to it a couple of times, but I find as long as I keep it rolled up and out of the way, they don't really mess with it that much. Alrighty, whew. This is more walking than I've done when doing a video in a long time and ever. Okay, so one of the reasons I do all this, I don't like going to gyms. I feel even if a gym says, we don't judge, people judge, because that's what people do. I'm getting judgments on these videos for the whole time that I've been doing this. So, yeah, anyway. So, these are the weights I started off with. These are 5-pound dumbbells. These came as part of a little set that had, I think, 3 sets. Yes, I think it had 3, 5, no. 1, 3, and 5s. And it had a little gray stand. I don't use the 1s and the 3s anymore. I don't need them. But these are the 5 pounds that I started with when I got consistent. I moved up. But I'm just going to show one of them. This is the weight that broke me. This is the 12-pound weight. I have 2 of them. These sets, that set there, the 5-pounders, I don't remember, was $30 or $40 at the time. This was several years ago, so it could be different now. But these sets, you have to be careful when you're buying weights, because sometimes the company will list the weight as an individual bell and you'll have to buy 2. Some companies will list them as duos. I believe the Yes for All dumbbells always come in sets. This set I think cost me about $40, somewhere between $30 and $40. But this is the one I'm eventually aiming for. And these are the ones that I'm using. These are my 6-pounders. These are Pro Source. I think these also come in sets of 2. The thing is once you hit about 15 to 17 pounds with dumbbells, it's harder to get them in this kind of format. I much prefer having the, I can't remember what this stuff is called, but it's a covering. To me, it makes it easier to grip them, and so it's harder to get this type of weight as you get higher and higher up, and they do get more expensive as you go higher and higher up. But this is what I'm working with right now. So those are all my tools that I'm using at this point. I do have I don't even know what they're called, but they're like the ropes, the tubes that are used to pull, or you can put on your legs to make your legs stronger. But I'm not using those. I probably should, because they would help with my inner thighs, but at this point I'm not using them. This earring just wants to just go off on its own way. So that's my, that's the tools I'm using right now. When I first started, I was using videos. I'm not using those nearly as much. I do have a Beachbody Pio video, and I do have a Beachbody, can't remember what it's called. It's Core something. It's an MMA program that I plan to use on days when I haven't gotten enough sleep. So lifting a weight would be dangerous to do. You do have to be careful of that. But right now, it's primarily the ball, the mat, and the weights. That's what I'm using to do my workouts. But then I'm focusing on lifting and muscle. So that's me. Okay, so we need to finish cleaning this up a little bit. My face up a little bit. I'm just going to use my concealer to hide my red, which has probably gotten a lot more red after that. I have a few spots today. So our diet changes are actually slowly taking place as well. I mentioned that I'm having some issues with sweets because of the season being what it is. But overall, I think I'm doing okay. I'm starting to eat, I'm back to 2 yogurts, 1 or 2 yogurts a day, which I use the Chobani Greek. And I use the Chobani Flip yogurts. So I use the Flip yogurts more for a snack, and then I use the regular Greek yogurts for my wake-up food, basically, is what it comes down to. And also for pre-workout, because they have 12 grams of protein in them. All right, so I put a dot of Vichy on this, and what I'm going to do is do 2 pumps of the Sephora, which end up being huge. And I'm going to do 2 pumps of the CoverGirl. And we will see how that helps. Snagging my NYX Professional Buffer Brush for this. I'm going to mix them up. Let's see. Here we go. Actually, that looks like it's going to work. Now let's just hope that it oxidates. Oh, I think that's going to work. Oh gosh, guys, I think that's going to work. I think it's just a touch on the yellow side, but I don't think it's bad. Oh, I like the color. What do you think? It's looking a little light, but I think it's going to oxidize down. So I am eating more of my yogurt, and I do have the flips. I don't have a lot of the flips, but I do have the flips, and I am trying to use the flips as a snack. I'm also eating more Kind bars a lot of times. I have to get a couple of boxes to keep me through the week, but they have protein and fiber, both of which are helpful. So I'm doing better in that, even though I've had issues with, you know, the candies I like being out right now. I'm honestly not nearly as bad as if I didn't have those 2 items to work with. You all let me know if you think it's too light or too dark or too yellow. But I think I'm liking it. Don't hesitate to tell me if you think that I need to go lighter or whatever. So I'm doing better with the snacking to a degree. I do end up picking up my sweets that I like. But in general, even when I have the sweets here, I'm doing better with how I'm eating, because I will pick up a Kind bar. I will pick out one of the Chobani Flips for a snack. So that's an improvement over how it's been for the last couple of years. I don't know about anybody else, but when you have a baby in the house that you're trying to take care of, sometimes it's really hard to focus on your diet and do a lot of healthier habits. And now that I can actually focus on me and what I need to do, I'm finding it easier to sit there and stop and think, okay, don't just grab something, think about what you're eating. Again, with the sweets, it's really hard to do that. We have some of the hearts that I like in here now, and yeah, I will grab those and eat those. how it is, guys. Just how it is. In other things, we are finally starting to work on getting back into, my husband has started actually cooking from scratch again soon after he got the job that he's in now. That job has made him very, very happy. And he's feeling more like cooking. So he's been doing more of that. And that has been a very good thing for us in the terms of we're now eating less processed food. We had talked about going more vegetarian, so he's working on being more vegetarian, and I'm really proud of him that he's been thinking about it. And he's working on finding vegetarian alternatives for protein. So that's a process, but it has started back up. I mean, these are all things, a lot of these things we were doing prior to the whole baby and the injury and all of that stuff. We did remember I said that we had discussed going back to brown rice and whole grains and things like that, and that he agreed to it. Well, he had to buy some rice for the first time in a bit, and he went ahead and bought brown rice, and we've been buying it ever since. So I'm very, very happy to say that we are getting back into that with the rice, and we've been eating whole grain or whole wheat pasta all along. I am going to have to get back into baking a bit so that we can have whole grain breads, although a lot of the baked breads he's getting from, sometimes he gets stuff from work, and a lot of those are, this is just to blend it in a little bit more into what's going on with the rest of my face. So that's been a good thing, that we're getting back on track with that. The only other thing that's going on that's a bit different for food, one of the things that I noticed, it's kind of weird because I didn't notice it previously when I was working. Like I said, there's a lot of things that I do, that I used to do when I was working out 6 days a week, that I cannot for the life of me figure out how I did them. And I know what I used to do after working out was I would make a smoothie, and unfortunately, like, avocados are a little too expensive for that right now, and having all the fruit is a little bit too much for us right now to make the smoothies. And I am finding that with the actual lifting, I want real food, not drinkable food, if that makes sense. And so instead of doing that, I'm actually picking up frozen, like, lean cuisines, but that's not lean cuisines. I think the ones I have are Smart Choice or something. But I'm picking up 3 frozen dinners, lunches a week, and I'm using those after I work out, because when I work out, I find I just don't want to mess around with making food, especially from scratch. We do sometimes have leftovers, but I try to leave most of the leftovers for my son. And so, yeah, just trying not to, trying to get that food in after I work out has been a little harder in some ways. I'll wander my kitchen and I don't want to really do anything. So I can just throw one of those in, and I've looked at the what I'm using as a criteria for them is not only are they healthy, but how much protein they have in them, because after your workout, you're supposed to do a protein thing too. So before you work, if you're lifting, before you work out, you need some extra protein, and after you work out, you need some extra protein. So the 2 I have now, I believe, have either 17 or 19 and 20 or 21 grams of protein. So that is really good, and that's going to be what I'm going to be doing for lunches after my workouts. So that's my updates for what I've been doing and what's been going on. My consistency is getting better, and I'm hoping by the end of February that I will have managed to make the 3 days a week more times. In January, it was more 2 than 3 times a week, so I'm hoping in February it'll be more 3 than 2 times a week on the workouts. Like I said, Saturday is the hard one. But everything else is slowly improving, so I'm really thinking that we made progress in ways that do not reflect in the gains I've had. So I'm okay with that. I'm honestly okay with that. As long as we're making forward progress and becoming healthier, that's what it is. Anyway, that's the important thing. I'm going to have to touch up my eyes before I come back when I do this. Anyway, so quite obviously, I've had my hair up. When I woke up this morning, it was an absolute freaking disaster. So I had to rinse it out. There was no way that I was going to be able to refresh it and make it look even halfway decent. So I'm going to go take care of my hair. I'm going to finish my face, and then I will be back. For me, that's going to be probably a half hour to an hour. For you guys, it's going to be about 2 seconds. So for you, see you in about 2 seconds. So my hair has become something that I officially don't recognize. I mean, seriously. Seriously. Wow. So a couple things before we get into the rest of our goodbye for this video. My neighbor upstairs is in an impassioned conversation with someone on the phone, and he's doing it outside. And so if you hear a lot of chit-chat in the background, try to ignore it. Secondly, my eyes are indeed a mess. This is our finished look. I have had to repair the gold on this look several times, and I'm sure it's already starting to come off here. So my allergies or whatever are just really doing a number on all of it. So yeah, really a mess. I did have to touch up under here. I did end up putting some of the Royalty, the rosy color in here, and then blending it out a bit. And then I extended the wing just a little bit, and I used that blue to go around the wing just a touch to extend that out a bit. But that's pretty much all I've done to make any adjustments or changes to this look. And so I hope you like it, and I hope, yeah, you know, God, my hair. Just, I'm sorry. I did this, and I was really expecting it to be not as curly as usual, and it said, oh no, we can do that, baby. So we are making good progress, and I'm really pleased with that. And I hope you guys are making progress if you're on this journey too. And I hope you're getting healthier and making healthier choices, which is what this is all about, is making healthier choices, being healthier regardless of our weight, because in the end, weight does not determine health. And really recommend that you do read that interview, the very last interview that I posted in before the Facebook links in the last Whole and Healthy Wednesday video. I think you'll find it very interesting, some of the things he said. So we're done for the day, and I hope you like what you've seen, and that if you're not subscribed, that you will subscribe. If you do subscribe, do hit the notification bell so you know when I upload. I upload Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And if you're already part of the notification squad, you'll probably want to check your bells and your subscription, because both have been having issues. And yeah, so if you don't subscribe, we will be sad. However, you are always welcome to come back again. Always welcome at our house over here. We love to have our visitors. If you do come back again, don't forget to bring your cup of tea. So I had to put this in the microwave because yes, my hair took a little while, and so I wanted to warm it up. I don't think that particular combination would be good cold, so I warmed it back up. Let's hope that, let's hope that it tastes better than it did a little earlier, more melded. That's what I'm looking for, more melded. It didn't taste quite so combined in my earlier taste test. So let's give this a shot, and here we go. No, the berry is taking over at this point. So the almond teas are definitely stronger than the stash. In fact, I'm not really getting much of the chocolate in there at all. Don't get me wrong. I love stash tea. However, yeah, I think the almond tea is stronger. Next time I might try, if I try it again, I might try to double bag the chocolate and then see what happens, because yeah, this is more berry. I think the chocolate notes are in there, but they are so faint that they're hard to see. Not a favorite at this point. I think I'm going to have to find a raspberry tea. I know I had a raspberry zinger at one point, but I think I've been using it for my cold teas. But I'm going to get going now because this video is already going to be miles too long. And I hope you all are having a great day.